That sound either fills you with the warm glow of nostalgia, or it's pure nightmare fuel from when you lived through the era of the Rockman Clean 2 preset being on just about every other pop and rock record. MXR recently released a Rockman reissue pedal that I've got a video with. I think it sounds great. It's a fantastic pedal in a great form factor. But so many people have been asking me how I would replicate that, specifically the Clean 2 sound on Fractal audio gear. And I've done this in the past, but I realize I've never just done an explicit standalone version of that video. So let's dive into how to create that sound. Essentially, it's a little bit of filtering, it's a compressor, it's some chorus and some echo. It's nothing too complicated, but what I'm going to do is turn the delay, chorus, and filter off. We'll talk about those in a second, and I'm just going to start out with the stock studio feed-forward compressor with the ratio at 4. Experiment with the ratio depending on your guitar, but let's just have a listen to the DI sound of this PRS CE24. I'm on the middle pickup selector with the coils tapped. It's not great. And it's kind of even worse with the compressor because the compressor is squishing all of the high frequency content and bringing the bass up. And this was the great trick of the original Rockman. Tom Scholz being not only a fantastic guitar player, songwriter, and engineer, but also someone who was able to translate all of those skills into designing guitar gear, kind of realized, hey, why not pull out a bunch of that low end from the DI part of the guitar? Why not hype up the highs and then hit the compressor, and you get that magical combination on there. So I'm just using a tilt EQ. The frequency is at 1600 hertz, 9 dB of gain. This is like having a 9 dB high shelf and low shelf, where the low shelf is cutting and the high shelf is boosting at that center frequency on there. Now, I came across this because I've got an original Rockman X100, and I was able to measure, just using some pink noise sweeps through it, the frequency response without the chorus on there. And it looks a lot like a tilt EQ. So that's why I've been using this. And this is where the magic happens. It takes out all that low end that was making the compressor sound just kind of average on there, and it adds a whole bunch of top end sparkle, and you get that like pop rock radio ready sound out of it. Check this out. Now, it's a little bit of a chicken and egg situation with classic sounds. The Rockman came out in the early 80s, and a lot of classic records from the 80s used the Rockman Clean 2. Is that because the Rockman just happened to come out and then it got used on those records and hence it's become a classic sound retroactively? Or is it because of the inherent qualities of that sound being able to sit in a very dense mix with lots of other instruments, lots of other guitar tracks, lots of big sounding drums with reverb on there, lots of layers of paddy keyboards? I don't know. I'd actually love to hear in the comment section, was it just kind of luck that that product came out and was popular, or was it the right tool for the right time, one of those magical creations? Nevertheless, that's what it does, and it really does help a clean guitar sit in the mix. Now, for the chorus and the echo, I'm actually deferring to the work of the amazing Matt Picone. There is a factory preset in the Axe FX 3 called Rock Me On Clean 2, where I'm just using the chorus and the echo that's in there. So analog stereo, the rate at 0.25 hertz, depth at 20%, delay time 20 milliseconds, mix at 50%. You put this on and it just sounds pretty amazing and pretty close to that classic Rockman chorus sound. And then finally, something that the MXR Rockman pedal doesn't have is the echo effect from the original X100. Again, this is from Matt's preset. Matt's incredible, so I'm going to trust Matt's ears on this one. 200 and 240 millisecond dual delay with some cross feedback for like a reverb style echo effect. Now, of course, we can pimp this out a little bit. One thing that would inevitably have been done with those DI X100 sounds would be running it through a beautiful studio reverb. So let's bring up the large hall reverb. It's the stock reverb type. It's going to sound pretty epic. Let's add some stereo dual detune. I'm going to be using my blocks library in here, which you can get if you visit my Gumroad store. I'm going to use these H3000 style settings on there, and I'm going to place the tape distortion drive type first in chain. Let's come over here to T for tape distortion. This at the stock settings can just add a tiny amount of grit and warmth to your guitar signal in there. You could try this at the end of the chain as well to emulate like a tape style machine on there. But yeah, if you want the Rockman Clean 2 sound and you've got any Fractal product, an Axe-Fx, an FM9, an FM3, or even a VP4, you can get that Clean 2 sound using, again, this Tilt EQ, 1600 hertz, 9 dB of gain, a compressor of choice to make it nice and squishy, an analog stereo chorus, a bit of dual delay, and then, you can put all the extra sauce on it and do your own thing with it and take that sound to the next level. Thanks so much for watching. Links to support me in the video description. Here's a Ragdoll song called Self-Censored.